Welcome to Destination Draft Day. I am just sending out this link right now, but if you're here, we appreciate it. Michael Rochman here, probably going to be flying solo on today's episode. I think Nick Durst let me know he was busy, and unfortunately, I just kind of forgot. But ultimately, we have a lot to get into. Tyreek Hill is officially a member of the Dolphins, and that's insane. There's been speculation that Tom Brady could be on his way to the Dolphins if they really can get the trade talks rolling. I think there's going to be much more fireworks in terms of what the NFL is expected to see in these next coming days. There has been heavy speculation on more moves. One of the big things that I want to talk about when it comes to free agency before we dive in to the top running backs of this class is just the disrespect almost to the running back, or not running back, the interior offensive line class, where we're looking at guys that are quality starters, quality contributors, and they just are not getting the opportunity to really kind of prove themselves. They're getting severely undervalued on the market. Some of these guys are signing, some of these guys are accepting the low wage that they're kind of being offered, but a lot of these guys are starter quality that are just now kind of being passed over. I don't think this interior line class is that strong to where these guys should be out of a job, out of the league, pushed out of this situation. So guys like Eric Flowers, who, has really revitalized his career. He's not the same Eric Flowers that a lot of people have kind of known as the bust running back that just couldn't get it done as the Giants. He really was a contributing starter, a high-level starter at that, and it's just very interesting to see. I think a lot of the interior offensive line class is severely undervalued when it comes to this free agency unit. When it comes to this draft, I think, a lot of guys, maybe there's some contributors in this class, but I don't know if it's necessarily this dominant unit. So I'm going to be interested to see how that class kind of develops in terms of if someone isn't happy with the draft that they had. Maybe someone thinks they're getting Zion Johnson, but all these teams can't get Zion Johnson. So I'm going to be interested to see what happens with this class, what happens with this unit, and, if this free agency plays out a little bit. As far as the Dolphins trade, look, Tyreek Hill is a phenomenal receiver. I like the move. Whether or not it is for something greater, like I said, there seems to be some speculation that the Dolphins are still calling on Brady, trying to make that happen. That's something that a lot of people would hate to see, I think, just because of the dominance that would probably happen on that roster. But the AFC is already stacked. I feel like Brady's best bet is sticking in the class or sticking in the conference of the NFC and really kind of getting going. But, I don't want to waste any more time. I already got on here a little bit late. So today we're going to be talking about the top running backs of this class. There is so much talent in this class. And, I think the running back position as a whole kind of gets undervalued when it comes to mock drafts in the media, when it comes to just the typical common fan, because there are going to be late contributors in almost every draft class, but that doesn't mean that at the top end you can't get a very solid starter. And I think a lot of NFL teams realize that and look at that value and say, we should go ahead and get that rather than hoping for, a sixth-round pick to pan out into this large role type back. And, let's start out, though, with some of the later round picks in this class, at least in my opinion, and that's 11 through 20. Starting at number 20, we got Kevin Harris, running back out of South Carolina. And I know that he was benched during the season, but I think this is someone that really kind of fits more in the NFL. He has nice power behind his pads. I think he runs with nice, ferocious attitude as a runner, and I think that's going to contribute a large amount to his NFL success. He's got solid receiving ability. I think he is someone that really is kind of slept on in that regard, but he can contribute in the passing game. I think there's still much work to be done in terms of his elusiveness. His burst is kind of inconsistent, but I think he runs pretty violently in terms of how well he uses his power and stout frame to where he can contribute for an offense and really kind of become one of these studs that maybe, isn't going to be this, oh, wow, we should have drafted him in the 7th round because now he's this bell cow running back. But I think he could easily find a home in a running back rotation after, a year or two developing, and I think he could contribute in a major way. At number 19, I got Hassan Haskins, and this one was someone that I was enjoying at the college level. It's just that transition to the NFL, that projection is where I kind of question what he'll be able to do. He has nice power as well, a great frame. He ran okay, but not great. I think this is someone that you look at And you kind of question just the overall ability to make things happen for the next level. Sorry about that notification. You kind of question what's going to be able to happen for him to contribute and carve out this large role. I think Hassan Haskins is someone that probably isn't going to end up as number 19 when we're looking back on this class, 3 to 5 years from now. But I do think that he's someone that maybe offers a little less upside than some of the other guys in this class, and that's why I have him a little bit lower compared to maybe some of the consensus rankings. At number 18, I got Abram Smith out of Baylor. This is someone that I think has a lot of talent at the running back spot. He transitioned from linebacker to running back for Baylor, stepped up in a huge way. Him and Tristan Ebner were one of the best running back duos in college football last year. He's got some nice movement skills. I don't love his agility, but I think he works north and south pretty well. I think for a first-year running back in terms of, college workload, he really kind of surprised, and that could offer some potential. He went to the Senior Bowl, so that would indicate that NFL teams also like him. I think this is someone that's probably going to be brought in as a running back to take a little bit of carries, contribute in special teams. So he's probably someone that gets drafted just because of his all-around, kind of team effort mentality. But ultimately, kind of similar to Haskins, I think in terms of upside, I don't see it as much as some of these other guys, and that's why he's going to be a little bit lower here. Overall, I just want to say I've graded 25 running backs. The 5 that missed out. Number 21, this is probably the hottest take on this list. 21 was Tyler Beatty. A guy that I think has built up some hype. And I really liked him when watching in college football, watching the games live. But whenever it came to officially study his film, I felt he was kind of limited. He could catch some dump-off passes, and if he had enough open space, he could turn into something big. But he wasn't as dominant a receiver as some of these other guys in this class. The production's there, obviously, and he has some exciting plays, some highlight material. But ultimately, sitting here at 21 for me, some of the other guys, Snoop Connor, Devontae Price, Letty Brown, and Tyler Algier, all guys that, I'm not writing them off completely. They have some traits that I liked, especially, a guy like Devontae Price, Snoop Connor, who the workload or talent around them, respectively, it just wasn't there for me to where I could really gauge them entirely. Snoop Connor's a guy that I really like, but he's just he's someone that I kind of question in terms of what his role will be at the NFL, because I think he's going to be a power back, but I don't know if his power is necessarily there. And when it comes to maybe being like this well-rounded back, we just didn't see it enough. So that's where I kind of question him in that regard. Devontae Price runs straight up, doesn't have a ton of agility and creation as a runner. And that could happen where, you just don't have the blocking set up for you. So you struggle to really kind of develop into this big time runner at the NFL level. But when it comes to what I've seen from Devontae Price, I'm not a huge fan in terms of him compared to other running backs in this class. So getting back to the rankings, at number 17, Rashad White out of Arizona. This is someone that I know has a lot of love around the draft community. I see it. I get the appeal. He has nice build. He has nice receiving upside. He can run a little bit. But I don't love his running style. I think he runs a little bit straight up, similar to some of these other backs in this class. I think he has some stiffness to him that isn't great. I think he has the athleticism to where he can become something. But at this current point in time, when I look at Rashad White, I just don't see the appeal to where I'm confident in him to kind of become this running back that's going to take a major workload. I think he's someone that can easily find his space in a backfield, find a way to contribute in a rotational role, but I don't see him stepping up to becoming a big-time runner. At 16, this is where things kind of get interesting because, if you were telling me that you were high on Tyler Goodson, despite me having him at 16, I would have a hard time disagreeing with you because I think he's got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of capabilities. He's got some nice athleticism. He has some moments where he really just flashes some very notable pro traits as a runner. But when it comes to him as a runner entirely, there's some limitations. I think he's got some issues as an inside runner, and I know that there are plenty of schemes that are going to capitalize on your outside running ability, but I think, you got to be able to do a little bit of both. And I don't necessarily love that out of Goodson, and I think that's where his limitations come. Same happens for Verdell. These guys are kind of interchangeable. Verdell has very nice outside running ability. I think he's a little bit better up the middle despite being a smaller frame, but he's another guy that's fast on the outside, makes some plays, but at the same time, there's limitations to his inside running game that kind of makes me question his overall appeal at the NFL level. At number 14, Tai Chandler, running back out of North Carolina. Tremendous speed, tremendous shake. This was someone that I actually kind of underestimated when it came to their testing ability and 40 time. He put up a great time in the 40. He has some nice size. I think he's someone that really could shock some people in this class just because of his playmaking skills, his talent, his ability to break deep because of his long speed. He can make plays. He can really do it all as a runner, and I think that is why, here at 14, it's a little bit undervalued. It's a little bit of a question of how can I say, like, oh, he's going to be the stud if I'm a little bit, I have him at 14, but I do think his power lacks. But ultimately, when it comes to his comparison to guys like Verdell, guys like Goodson, I think that he offers a little bit more deep play upside, and that's why I have him here at 14 over Verdell and Goodson, who are 15, 16. At number 13, Sincere McCormick, running back out of UTSA. If you watched the Roadrunners game this year, then you know all about Sincere McCormick. Absolute highlight player, a dominant stat sheet stuffer. There were games he was getting 30 carries just because of his, ability to put the team on his back. I like his balance. I think he works really well at picking up those additional yards. I think he has versatility as a receiver. They would get him touches in any way possible, and I really enjoy that out of a running back. I don't love his shiftiness. I think that's where the concern comes for me, and that's why he's not higher. I think in terms of overall agility, overall just ability to shake, he wasn't there. As a tester, he didn't do great. He put up 4.76 RAS, which is kind of concerning. I think he's someone that, is going to be fine in the pros. I think he sticks around, but I think there's certainly questions of what's going to be, his dominance at the NFL, because there are plenty of balanced runners. There are plenty of guys with versatility. Can he continue that success at the NFL, or will it result in, him kind of falling off and just being a rotational back? At number 12, I have Brian Robinson Jr., and this is another guy similar to what I said about Haskins, where when we look back on this draft, I think if you hold him at the 12 ranking that I put him at, it's probably going to look dumb, because I think this is someone that very easily is going to be a safe runner. He's got nice contact balance. He's got a great frame at 6'1", 225. He has 3-down ability. He can receive. He can block. He does it all. I think he runs a little straight up. I don't love his overall highlight ability, but I think, still, this is a dependable runner, a guy that can make plays. At the NFL level, I expect him to be somewhere like Tennessee, where he's not necessarily this starting running back, but he is able to kind of take the workload behind the star and, manage it for 10, 12 carries and put up, 45, 50 yards and, be very happy for his team. So I think that's someone that, he's safe. I wouldn't be surprised as well if, a team like the Texans kind of gets him in round 4 and just lets him be one of their main backs. But ultimately, I do kind of question the overall ceiling for Brian Robinson Jr., so that's why he's here at 12 as compared to some of these other guys. And then the last one on this part of the list, Jerrion Ealy, running back out of Ole Miss. This is someone that has tremendous playmaking ability. The background, everyone knows about how he plays football, plays baseball. I really like his skill set. I think he's got tremendous burst, excellent receiving ability, and for a smaller framed running back, he has tremendous contact balance. He is excellent at keeping his low center of gravity and turning it into extra yards. This is someone that I think can flash at times, but was never super consistent at the NFL level or at the college football level. So that's what needs to be changed at the NFL level. Can he consistently put up good carries, consistently break these tackles to where he is getting those additional 3-4 yards? If he can do that, then I think there's plenty of potential for Jerry and Ely to be that guy that kind of breaks out in this class. Now, again, when it comes to quarterbacks, we're very adamant on, landing spot matters. For running backs, it's kind of opportunity matters for, guys that are looking at this for their fantasy teams or guys that are just looking to see what rookies step up. It's really about opportunity. Khalil Herbert was a 6th, 7th round pick last year. I don't remember the exact round, but David Montgomery got hurt and he absolutely shined in that opportunity. I think there is plenty of chances for anyone on this list to have success if they get the opportunity to really take on a full workload. But I think these are the guys that, maybe offer less upside in the full workload opportunity. Still, though, plenty of talent on this list. If you're looking for a running back in this class, there's certainly plenty of enticing options. A lot of guys that fill a lot of different archetypes as the running back. So definitely take a look. Definitely see what you can turn into, and you'll be very happy with the result. Now we go on to our top 10 running backs in this class. Number 10, I got Jerome Ford, running back out of Cincinnati. Replaced Jared Dokes, the running back last year that I was extremely high on. Ford has a lot of upside. He's got some nice bursts. He's got some nice blocking ability. I think there is some appeal when it comes to him. I know the workload and experience may come into question, but I think overall he's one of those running backs that you put the ball in his hands, he's going to be a violent runner. He can make some plays. He's got a decent frame. Turned in a solid pro day. I'm not sure about his overall elusiveness. I think his agility is kind of still in question. He's got some burst as a runner, but overall his shake is kind of in question. He's got some nice pacing. I really like his ability to kind of sidestep and shoot through a hole pretty easily. I think he does well in terms of patience. I like his vision. I've seen some people say that his vision isn't as good. I thought it was pretty solid. And like I said, he gets after as a blocker. I think this is someone that is going to continue to find success at the NFL level. He's got a nice build, kind of jacked up running back where he can really kind of make some plays, make some opportunities and dominant play where he's someone that can really kind of stand out as a running back. And on tape, when you're watching Cincinnati, he'll make some highlight plays that you're like, wow, this guy needs to be talked about much higher. It would not surprise me if we're looking back on this list and Jerome Ford is much higher than I have him listed, because I think in terms of playmaking ability, he absolutely brings that. At number 9, Kyron Williams, who is another guy that would probably be higher, but the question is just his pro day testing combine testing, but he really kind of disappointed with his 40 time, turned in a 2.8 RAS, 5'9", 200-pound guy that really was seen as one of the most complete backs in this draft class in terms of ability to receive, ability to run, and ability to block. He does it all. I think he's going to continue to do it all, but now it's probably likely in a third down back type of role rather than in a large role as a running back. Limitations there. We'll probably have him seen as like a J.D. McKissick type in the league where, he can contribute. He can find ways to produce, but he's not going to necessarily ever be your main running back. And I think, there's plenty of need for those guys in the league, and that's why Kyron's probably going to stick around. He's got great character, great traits. Probably one of the more highly touted character guys in this class that we've heard from coaching staff, teammates. So, plenty of appeal when it comes to this guy as a locker room guy, as a just well-rounded back, but I don't know about his ceiling. So that's why he's here at 9. But ultimately, I expect Kyren Williams to stick around in this league for a while. Very nice receiver. He's got some highlight playability, so I'm not sure where the 40 came from. I was expecting maybe 4.4, mid 4.4, low 4.5. Ended up running in, I think, the mid 4.6, so definitely a little bit disappointing. Still, I like his ability. I think he's going to make some plays at the NFL level. And the athletic testing is disappointing, but I still think he's going to find a way to kind of step up and contribute when he gets the opportunity. At number 8, and probably one of my bigger sleepers of this class, Deshawn Corbin. And what I mean by bigger sleepers is just probably a little bit against the grain of consensus, but Deshawn Corbin, number 8, is someone that I really like. He kind of offers that big play ability, great frame. I think one of the best traits that you can have as a running back is ability to create plays on your own. Florida State offensive line is just it's not it. Like it's consistently bad. And Deshawn Corbin was able to make plays consistently behind that line. He has a very nice build. Someone that I think just can really surprise if he does get the opportunity to take over the NFL. 6 foot, 221 pounds, ran for 6 yards per carry last year. Just a bruising back that can really kind of put his shoulder pads forward, but also a guy that has the long speed and shake to make plays. I think there's certainly, moments where he can be a little overambitious as a runner. He can have his moments where, he just kind of doesn't make it happen. But ultimately, this is someone that if you're looking for a late round flyer as an NFL team, I think Deshawn Corbin's your guy. A lot of these other guys that are listed above him are probably going to be gone by, those round 6, round 7 range. So looking at a guy like Deshawn Corbin, I think you can bring him into your offense, let him work in open space, and he's going to create some big plays. At number 7, Damian Pierce out of Florida. This is someone that I'd heard some hype for. I wasn't sure if I was going to like him, but I really did. He has nice vision. He can improvise extremely well, nice balance. He was probably one of the best running backs going against Georgia this season. He was consistently, physical against their defensive line. He broke some tackles against some very good NFL prospects. And I think that's going to translate to the NFL where he's doing more of the same. He's got a nice build, nice ability as a runner. He really is just someone that I think for how inconsistent Florida was as a whole, he was someone that was very consistent all season. 13 touchdowns, 574 yards on 100 carries. Again, 5'10", 215 pounds. Just a guy that I think was probably put into a bad situation overall just because of the lack of talent on Florida this year, the inconsistencies of the offense. But when it came to Damian Pierce, he was the consistency in that offense, and he was really able to kind of step up in a star role for them. And I think at the NFL, this is someone that's probably not going to own the backfield, but I think you put him as your primary runner with other guys as your, receiving back. You put Damien Pierce and Kyren Williams in the same backfield, I think you find some success. At number 6 is Amir White, a very powerful runner, really can lower his shoulders and just pick up yards tremendously well. He had one play where he was carrying like 6 guys on his back. He is a north and south runner through and through, 6 foot, 214 pounds, a very wide frame, which I think plays really well to his running style. There's this photo of him next to DeAndre Swift that I saw on Twitter last night while kind of watching through these guys. And he looked like 10 times bigger than DeAndre Swift, who is still like a pretty solidly sized back. I'm pretty sure he's like 5'8", 200 pounds. So, Amir White, in terms of frame, just has so much on his frame that is going to make him find success at the NFL. Kind of similar to Damien Pierce, where, if you have him as your primary runner, you probably want someone else in that backfield to be the receiving back, but still, going to contribute on the ground. Amir White is great in terms of blocking ability. The big play ability, I think, is in question, but he kind of put those concerns to rest by running a 4.4 40. Maybe the long speed is there, and we just never really got to see him in open space because James Cook and him split that backfield, and Kendall Milton and Kenny McIntosh. I mean, Georgia had like 4 NFL running backs on one roster. So to not see Zamir White maybe make those big plays isn't necessarily Zamir White not doing it, more so than just the opportunity not being there as a whole to really make those plays as much as he probably could have. At number 5, Isaiah Spiller, a dominant running back for Texas A&M. Kind of disappointed in terms of testing, but still tremendous vision, great contact balance, a very good receiver, someone that I think could be a 3-down back. The athleticism is going to come into question, but still, kind of a 4-5 guy, so I'm not too concerned about it. I think if I had to make a comparison, and I think a lot of people are going to kind of underestimate how good this player is because of the past of what he was, but a current day Zeke where he's still a very good runner, very good as a receiving back, nice power, just not as elusive and bursty as he used to be. I think Isaiah Spiller has a lot of similarities, and I think a lot of people, again, will scoff at that because they kind of mock Zeke. But Zeke is still a very good running back. The issue with Zeke is the price tag you're paying for him to be a good running back as compared to what you were expecting to pay him as a great running back. So Spiller still very good, very nice build as a runner. I think he was just someone that really lit it up for the Aggies all of last season. A 6'1", 215-pound guy with 179 carries, 1,000 yards, or over 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, split the backfield with Devin Achane, splitting backfield for a while with Anaya Smith. He is going to really just continue to find success at the NFL. Yes, the testing was not great. I think it kind of easily put him behind Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker in terms of the popular rankings. But ultimately, Spiller is still someone that I think has great upside. Spiller is still someone that I think is a very safe running back to take in this draft. And I think he's someone that could very easily be a solid starter, maybe even a good, high-quality starter at the next level because he has so many traits that should translate pretty easily, and he consistently showed it at Texas A&M. Number 4, we got James Cook out of Georgia, and he kind of breaks my rules for running backs because I love guys over 200, but man, for James Cook, I'm okay with him being 199. You can add 10 pounds in the NFL. It's fine. He does so much in open space that I just love his ability, whether he is just contributing as a receiving back or whether he, really kind of develops into being this full-time runner. I think he has the ability, the upside, the big play potential to where this is someone that could easily be a superstar in this class. He has some Dalvin Cook traits, his brother, of having great vision, being able to find space and just making dominant plays. He's a great receiver. He lined up out wide when needed. I think the big question is, can he kind of make that power work at the next level? Right now, he's a little bit not weak, but just he doesn't have as much power as you may like out of a running back. So, he's going to be working outside most of the time early. If he can develop an inside game, then he can really contribute in a big way. If he can't, I still think he's going to find ways to succeed because of his ability on the outside, his ability in space, but it may hold him back from ever being like a top-end talent in this class. At number 3, I got Pierre Strong Jr., South Dakota State. This is someone that I think he had 10 games of over 50 yards on a play. He was just consistently making big plays, turned in a dominant combine, just a tremendous runner, tremendous ability, great long speed, great frame. I think his contact balance is where I kind of have my question marks for him. Can he kind of shake tackles a little bit better, more efficiently to really kind of become this elite player at the next level? I think he can. I think you're looking at I think you're looking at when David Johnson was coming out of Northern Iowa, a lot of people were like, how's that going to translate to the NFL level? I think it's absolutely, similar where this is someone that I think it's going to translate. Like, I'm not questioning if he will find success in the NFL. I'm questioning how good can he be? Is he going to be someone that just kind of gets a few carries and, makes a big play here and there and is just a good rotational back? Or is he going to be someone that ends up breaking out, getting, 15, 25 carries a game and putting up 100-yard performances consistently? When it comes to Pierre Strong, I think he's going to be a 100-yard guy, a consistent big-time contributor. But, he's still got some work to do. And I think that's going to be crucial for him if he wants to kind of become this dominant runner at the next level, a little bit better at creating his own space in terms of, breaking free from some tackles, because he's got the frame to be a physical runner. I know that he's a speed runner. I know he's going to be very dominant on the outside, but he needs to be a little bit better at shaking off some contact if he wants to kind of make that next jump to becoming the elite running back of this class or something. And I think the capability is absolutely there. That's why I have him at 3. But in terms of, limitations, I guess, or question marks for his game, that's where it certainly comes in at. The next running back on my list is Kenneth Walker, running back out of Michigan State. I compared him to Mark Ingram out of Alabama, and I think they have a lot of similarities coming into the pros. I think Kenneth Walker has more upside in terms of just, I think now running backs just have more upside as compared to when Mark Ingram came into the league. But ultimately, Kenneth Walker has tremendous vision. He will have plays that just seem absolutely broken, and he will just shake, twice and just find his way up for 11-yard carry. He consistently does that. There's no doubt in my mind Kenneth Walker is going to be a good running back in the NFL. There's no doubt in my mind that Kenneth Walker is going to find a way to contribute, find a way to be a stud, find a way to be a great addition for whatever team drafts him. What will happen, in terms of question marks for him, is just can he, continue to work on being a little bit more north and south? I understand, again, that the NFL has very much drifted to outside running, and, having that vision is huge. But at the same time, you have to know when to cut up. You can't kind of keep in the backfield and keep trying to make plays when it's not there. Sometimes you need to take 4 yards instead of trying to pick up 20. And Kenneth Walker sometimes has that issue. I think he's still a very good back, a very talented one. But that's kind of the main question. I think he could still develop as a receiver. Production was never necessarily there. I think it's something that will grow in his game over time, similar to how Ingram kind of did. But ultimately, right now, it's still something that we don't know on. And then at number 1, Breece Hall out of Iowa State. I compared him to DeMarco Murray. I think he has the ability to run north and south. I think he has the ability to run outside. He's got tremendous vision, great shake. He has lower body balance out of this world, a tremendous frame, just tremendous ability overall to make plays consistently with the ball in his hands. This is someone that just does it all for the Iowa State Cyclones. He just has everything that you could ever want out of a running back. Tremendous runner, tremendous ability with the ball in his hands. I think he's someone that, you want to give him the ball at the goal line, you're fine. Like, he's going to pick up the yardage, he's going to get into the end zone and convert it. You want to give him the ball at the 20 and make him run outside and see if he can get a big play, you're fine to do that. He can make that happen. 6'1", 220-pound back with just tremendous upside. He put up a touchdown, I think, in 25 straight games. Just an absolute dominant runner, an absolute beast with the ball in his hands. And then not only is he good as a runner, he can contribute as a receiver as well. Put up 36 catches this year, 302 yards, 3 touchdowns. And I think he has more potential as a receiver too. I think he can continue growing, continue developing in that regard, and he's going to really find success. This is someone that just offers everything. If there is someone that goes in the first round this year, it should be one of these top 2 guys, in Kenneth Walker or Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall is the guy that I would go with. I've seen comparisons to Forte. He has that ability where, you give him 20 carries a game, he's still going to put up like 112 yards, and you're going to say, man, it didn't even seem like Breece Hall was dominating like that. But all game, he was just consistently putting up plays. He did have that big 20-yard touchdown, but everything else, he was still just consistently doing well. So that's why I think Breece Hall is just someone that I would love to have on my team if I were a team looking for a running back at all, because he's someone that is going to be an absolute stud. If your team like Buffalo, if your team like Arizona, yes, I know that there are other needs on your roster. Yes, I know that a lot of fans hate the idea of drafting running back in the first round, but getting a guy like Breece Hall on your roster to run the ball, I think, is a tremendous payoff for what the result is. That also goes for teams like Kansas City, teams like, potentially Philadelphia, New Orleans. I wouldn't be surprised. I think New Orleans is kind of the sleeper team to be interested in running back this year, because I think that they know that Kamara is tremendous. I don't think they have any questions on Kamara, but I do think that the running game outside of Kamara, and Kamara's an outside guy almost through and through. So you need an inside runner. If you put, Kenneth Walker back there with him, then that's a tremendous running back room. If you kind of wait, maybe put on a Damien Pierce or Amir White, I get that as well. I think there's certainly other options they could go, but I do think New Orleans is going to be drafting a running back sooner than people expect in this draft. And, really, that's all I have for you. in regards to this running back class. I think there's plenty of upside, plenty of guys that I'm really excited about. Ultimately, like I said, it's going to come down to opportunity. I think a lot of these running backs are able to produce once they're given a chance to. And that's what I'm really excited about for this class when it comes to who's going to go in the first round, because there seems to be one every year. Who's going to maybe fall into the second round into a perfect situation? What's going to happen with a team like Washington, who kind of didn't use Antonio Gibson? Are they going to look at a running back? Damian Pierce has been rumored for Atlanta. Could that happen? Or are we going to see someone else kind of jump the gun on getting him? There are plenty of landing spots, plenty of potential openings for running back opportunity in this league, despite the notion that it's just easy to fill running back. NFL knows that it's easy to fill it maybe, but you want to address it with guys that are second, third round picks, because those are guys that are going to contribute in this class. So ultimately, I'm really excited to see what happens. We'll be here on Monday talking about our top receivers in the class, both outside and slot receivers. We might fit tight end in there as well, not 100% certain, but until then, take care, have a great weekend, and be safe. Peace.